Hey y'all, happy Wednesday. Today I want to talk about discipline and surrender. I'm going to take this flannel off. I'm not wearing my rings either. I was just painting this wall. We have carpet coming tomorrow and we're cutting down to the wire, and that was the last space that needed to be painted before carpet comes, because carpet is going down the stairs there, and so we didn't want to drip on anything. So our whole basement's getting revamped, which is really cool. Hey Kristen, thanks for joining. So today we're going to talk about discipline versus surrender and how they work together, because I think right now for me and for my team and for a lot of folks, there's a lot of big projects going on, and we're down to deadlines, just like my carpet and painting my walls. We're down to the wire. We have less than a month until a deadline that we're heading for at work. And the thing is, for a lot of people who are like me, Enneagram 3 or scientists, or type A, or however, if you're a very organized person, most of the time our initial instinct is to really control our way through something, right? To have a plan, to have a checklist, to have a strategy, right? And so yeah, Kristen, definitely, right? So that is what we call discipline, and that's a really, really good way, I would say. What's the word I'm looking for? It's a good trait to have. It's a good quality to have, because when you're organized and planful and mindful and strategic, you can anticipate issues in the future, you can think about details, and you can avoid mistakes or errors or issues. It's a wonderful quality. And at the same time, when you're getting close to a deadline, or when you're working on something so close in the details, it's really easy to get stuck in that perfectionism mode. So I never thought I was a perfectionist until I started thinking about this. Sometimes I wouldn't do things or follow through on things and I thought I was just procrastinating, but really it was because I was worried, or I knew that I couldn't do it perfectly, so it wouldn't happen, or I would just stop doing it, right? So perfectionism can often manifest itself in procrastination, and it can also lead you to be in this fear-based scarcity mindset. So when you have these large deadlines and you're kind of in discipline, sometimes it can feel like this. You are pushing so hard to make something work, and it's not working. And you're like, why? It's supposed to be like this, right? So here's where there's another side of this coin: surrender. So sometimes when I say surrender, people think of the word, they think of like letting go and who cares, whatever. And that's not what I'm talking about. I'm actually talking about surrender in terms of trusting the process, believing in yourself, knowing you've done everything you can when you've been in that disciplined mindset to set yourself up for success, and just knowing that things will work out the way they're supposed to, and also rolling with the punches. So when you're in the discipline mode and little things come up and you're like, oh, now I gotta deal with that, or oh, I have to deal with this fire, it's adding stress to your plate. And now you're in this super negative mindset, you're in this fear-based mindset, scarcity mindset, and nothing can go right. But when you're in the surrender mode, you're like, okay, that thing didn't work out. What can I do about it? And maybe the answer is nothing. I have to move on. That's really hard, right? But at least you can set it aside. Or maybe the answer is, you know what? I can pivot. Instead of doing it like I thought I was going to, I'm going to change gears and just do it a completely different way. And that's okay. Even though I had this entire plan, part of it is not going to go the way I planned, and so I need to stop trying so hard in my disciplined self to make it work and let go a little bit let grace, God, whatever you're thinking about, and surrender a little bit. So there's this really cool diagram online. If you look up discipline and surrender, like Google discipline and surrender graphic, it's actually a Venn diagram. So it's like a circle of discipline and a circle of surrender, and in the middle of the Venn diagram is the word flow. So sometimes we're all the way over in the discipline mode and everything is like digging in, and we're like, we have our plan, and we're strategic, and we're working really hard, and we have grit. And sometimes we're in the surrender and we're like, it's all good, like whatever, and you know, it's gonna, what will be will be. And those are two super extreme mindsets to have. Most of the time you need a balance of discipline and surrender. You need to know when to be organized, planful, mindful, strategic, and when to trust and let go and go with the flow and pivot and change. And so when you have that balance, that's when I think we feel the best. And hey, thanks for joining. And you're in flow. So that's when things are just like working really well for you. You're making decisions. You don't have analysis paralysis. You're not trying to be perfect. Things are going well. You're not controlling your way through, but you're following your plan and you're rolling with it. That is the best place to be. Kristen says it also shifts in different seasons of life, which is one we lean more toward to. Yeah, absolutely. It does shift in seasons of life. So, you know, if we're not just thinking about like a work project, maybe we're thinking about like me. Okay, for example, I am 20 weeks pregnant. Like, I love to be moving all the time and like doing things. And like, I was just painting our wall in the hallway. And this week, there's so many things in my house that I would love to get done. Like, laundry is a mess. Like, I am actually done with my laundry, but my kids and my husband's laundry, they are not getting done. And my husband takes care of the laundry for him and also our kid. And he has been busy renovating our house, right? So he's been, you know, deep popcorning ceilings downstairs, getting ready for carpet. And so I told myself, I'm going to help out with like the other things he has to let go of right now. I'm going to do laundry. Well, guess what? My body hurts at the end of the day. Like, I can't move another muscle. Like, I had to tell him a few times this week, like, I know you asked me to do this thing, but like, I'm going to cry if I don't lay down right now. Like, I can't. And it pains me so much to like surrender that and be like, you know what? In this season of life, like, especially like thinking about mom life, like not everything will be 100% done all the time, right? Or maybe you're going through like a big change at work or a big change at home or in your family. Maybe you had a big life change, like you moved or you changed relationship status, right? There's also like outward things that you can't control in life that happen for us, right? That push us towards discipline sometimes, or push us more towards surrender. And it's being more self-aware and recognizing like, where am I at? And knowing like, do I need to pivot, or is this where I need to be? So I guess the best way that I do this, and I can try to like recognize this, is by reflecting daily or weekly. And you know, whenever I notice myself, my energy levels dipping, that's often when I check in and I'll be like, where am I at? Oh, I'm like totally trying to surrender, or I'm so in discipline right now and I think I need to let it go. All these Disney movies, they have real lessons in them. So journaling is a great way to reflect. Writing your daily gratitude. What's the first thing that comes to your thought in the morning? And if it's like gotta run type of thing, that's a good sign. Like, okay, why am I feeling like that? Or maybe you wake up feeling super rested. You're like, okay, like I'm surrendering. Like I'm in the flow state, you know? So, hey, thanks for joining. Hey, Em. So yeah, I think that it's definitely like a balance, but when you find the balance, that is when you can be in flow and just feel really, really good about your choices. The last thing I want to talk about before I pop off, and if you just joined, I'll put this on my IGTV so you can watch the full thing, is I want to talk about managing other people's energy when it comes to discipline or surrender. So as you get better at being self-aware and knowing like, okay, I'm in discipline, grit, I'm like making things happen, things are going really hard. Hey Emily, hey Amelia, or when you're like, okay, I'm going with it, I'm in the flow, right? Then you also start to notice if other people are more in discipline or surrender or in flow. And I don't know what Enneagrams all of you are. I'm an Enneagram 3 wing 2. A lot of my friends are Enneagram 3s or 2s, which is the helper. Okay, so when you see somebody who's in discipline and they're in fear-based and scarcity mindset and they're really, really trying to make something happen, we often want to swoop in and help them. So I have an example of this. I have somebody that I'm working with right now who's having a really hard time adjusting to change. And I feel like I'm doing everything I can to support this person to be like, it's okay, like trust the process. It's going to end up great. We all have the tools we need to be successful. You're doing wonderfully. But this person's like, it is not going how I planned. It is not fitting into what I thought it would look like. And they can't get past it. And so I actually started doubting myself, like, am I not helping enough? Am I not supporting enough? Like, how can I support better? And then I realized that the way that someone deals with a situation, even if I'm involved, has nothing to do with me. It has everything to do with them and their thoughts and how they think about things. So even though we want to swoop in and help people when we see that their energy is more in the discipline and they are struggling, or maybe they are really surrendering like super extreme and you're like, girl, you need a little structure, you can't always help them. Sometimes the best thing you can do to help them is to let go and step back. They might need to learn that the hard way. But you can also model the behavior. So you can share about discipline, surrender, and flow. You can share about how you manage or how you think about things when certain situations come up and model that for your team, for different people in your life. But you just have to recognize that you can't save everyone or swoop in and fix everyone's mindset or problems, no matter how much support you lean in and offer. So I hope that was helpful for you guys. That was short and sweet, I think like 13 minutes or so. But yeah, I just thought that was a really important lesson. So if you didn't catch the beginning, I will put this on my IGTV and you can check it out. Also, if you haven't followed my Leave Happy Method Instagram account yet, definitely check it out. That's where I talk about leader-centered work, more tips for leaders, specific things around planning and strategy, but building in the surrender so that you can find flow. So definitely check that out if you haven't listened or haven't followed at Leave Happy Method yet. All right, everybody, have a wonderful day. Thank you so much for joining. It was so fun to see all these people joining today. Bye.